In October 2023, a quiet announcement from Chinese researchers sent shockwaves through global security circles. A 113-qubit quantum computer had successfully broken a 256-bit RSA key in just 72 hours, a watershed moment in what experts call the quantum winter. This breakthrough has dramatically accelerated the timeline for quantum threats to our digital infrastructure, compressing what was once thought to be a 15 to 20-year horizon to just 5 to 7 years. Today, we'll explore this rapidly evolving landscape, the unprecedented global response, and the race to develop quantum-resistant cryptography before our current security systems become obsolete. The University of Science and Technology of China's achievement marks a critical threshold in cryptographic security. While RSA 256 isn't used for high-security applications, it shares the same mathematical foundation as RSA 2048, which currently protects global finance, government communications, and critical infrastructure worldwide. Dr. Yuka Nakamura from the Tokyo Institute of Quantum Mathematics notes that this development is particularly alarming because of how rapidly the timeline has compressed. Just 5 years ago, experts believed we had 15 to 20 years before quantum computers could threaten our encryption standards. Now, that window has narrowed to potentially just 5 to 7 years before widely deployed systems become vulnerable. This acceleration has triggered what some analysts have begun calling a cryptographic panic among national security agencies worldwide, as they race to prepare for a post-quantum reality. This quantum acceleration isn't happening in isolation. We're witnessing unprecedented global investment in quantum technologies. According to the Quantum Technology Monitor, international funding surpassed $30 billion in 2023 alone, with approximately 40% specifically directed toward quantum computing hardware development. China has made particularly aggressive moves, allocating an estimated $15 billion toward achieving quantum advantage in targeted applications. Cryptanalysis, the breaking of encryption systems, stands as a primary focus area in their research agenda. These investments reflect the understanding that quantum computing represents not just a technological advantage but a potential geopolitical power shift in the digital age. The implications of quantum computing advances extend far beyond theoretical concerns. In December 2023, a powerful consortium of financial institutions including J.P. Morgan Chase, HSBC, and the Bank of International Settlements issued a joint statement acknowledging that quantum computing represents an existential threat to current financial cryptographic infrastructure. This wasn't merely an acknowledgement of risk, it came with action. These institutions announced the formation of the Financial Quantum Resilience Coalition, or FQRC, to coordinate the industry's response to the quantum threat. The coalition has established a $2.7 billion fund to accelerate the implementation of quantum-resistant cryptographic standards across global banking systems. This unprecedented collaboration demonstrates how seriously the financial sector is taking the quantum security challenge. In response to the accelerating quantum threat, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST, has dramatically expanded its post-quantum cryptography standardization process. This initiative represents the frontline defense against quantum attacks. In July 2023, NIST formally approved the first quantum-resistant standards designed to withstand attacks from both classical and quantum computers. Crystal's Kyber algorithm was selected for key establishment, while Crystal's dilithium was approved for digital signatures. These algorithms represent years of intensive cryptographic research and rigorous security analysis. They're designed not just to patch vulnerabilities but to establish entirely new cryptographic foundations that can withstand the computational power of future quantum systems. Few outside specialized circles realize that implementing these new quantum-resistant standards has become a geopolitical battleground. According to recently declassified documents from the Cyber Infrastructure Security Agency, at least 3 nation-states have already begun systematic efforts to compromise companies' supply chains implementing post-quantum cryptography solutions. These operations, collectively codenamed Quantum Harvest, appear designed to insert subtle vulnerabilities into quantum-resistant systems before they're widely deployed. Marcus Chen, a former NSA cryptanalyst now with the Advanced Cryptographic Systems Foundation, explains that countries are positioning themselves not just for quantum advantage, but for post-quantum advantage, the ability to exploit flaws in the very systems designed to counter quantum threats. This represents a new frontier in digital espionage and national security competition. This quantum security race has catalyzed new forms of international cooperation. The Quantum-Resistant Cryptography Alliance, formed in March 2023, now includes 47 nations committed to developing shared cryptographic standards and implementation frameworks. This represents the first large-scale international effort to coordinate cryptographic transitions since the development of the advanced encryption standard in the late 1990s. However, the alliance has notable absences. China, Russia, and Iran have all declined to participate, highlighting the geopolitical dimensions of quantum security. These divisions reflect broader technological competition and suggest that quantum security may become increasingly fragmented along geopolitical lines, potentially creating incompatible security ecosystems in different regions of the world. The standardization process itself faces significant challenges. In September 2023, cryptographers identified a potential vulnerability in an earlier draft of the SFIN-CS+ signature algorithm, one of NIST's selected post-quantum cryptography candidates. While the issue was quickly addressed, this incident underscored the difficulty of developing and verifying new cryptographic primitives under time pressure. The cryptographic community now faces the dual challenge of rapid implementation and thorough security analysis, traditionally opposing goals in cryptographic deployment. This tension between speed and security creates significant risks, as any overlooked vulnerability could potentially compromise the entire post-quantum security framework before it's fully deployed. At the heart of many post-quantum solutions lies lattice-based cryptography, a mathematical approach that derives security from the difficulty of solving specific problems in geometric lattices, multi-dimensional grid structures with points at integer coordinates. The leading Crystal's Kyber algorithm relies specifically on the module learning with errors problem, which remains computationally difficult even for quantum computers. The significance of lattice-based approaches extends far beyond simple encryption. In September 2023, researchers from Zurich demonstrated the first practical fully homomorphic encryption system based on lattice problems. This breakthrough enables computation on encrypted data without ever decrypting it, potentially revolutionizing cloud computing security and privacy. Dr. Sophia Ree, who leads cryptographic implementation at Cloudflare, describes lattice-based systems as a fundamental shift in our security paradigm. We're not just replacing vulnerable algorithms, we're building entirely new computational frameworks that could fundamentally alter the privacy-utility trade-off in distributed systems. The mathematical foundations of lattice cryptography are proving remarkably versatile. Beyond encryption and digital signatures, researchers at Stanford and MIT have developed lattice-based protocols for secure multi-party computation, zero-knowledge proofs, and verifiable delay functions, cryptographic primitives essential for next-generation distributed systems and privacy-preserving technologies. This versatility positions lattice-based cryptography as potentially the most significant cryptographic advancement since the development of public key cryptography in the 1970s. These new protocols don't just secure data. They enable entirely new forms of secure computation and verification that were previously impossible or impractical. As these technologies mature, they promise to reshape not just security but the fundamental architecture of distributed computing systems worldwide. Despite their promise, implementation challenges for lattice-based systems remain substantial. These cryptographic operations typically require more computational resources than current approaches, with key sizes often 10 to 100 times larger than RSA equivalents. This poses particular challenges for resource-constrained environments like IoT devices, embedded systems, and legacy infrastructure that may lack the processing power or memory to handle these more complex algorithms. Researchers at the University of Waterloo's Institute for Quantum Computing have developed optimization techniques that reduce these overheads by approximately 60%, but significant efficiency gaps remain. These practical limitations mean that the transition to post-quantum cryptography won't be uniform across all systems and may require difficult trade-offs between security and performance in many applications. The most underreported aspect of the quantum security transition is the massive infrastructure challenge it presents. A recent analysis by the Quantum Economic Development Consortium estimates the global cost of cryptographic migration at $19.7 trillion over the next decade, roughly 20% of the annual global GDP. This staggering figure includes software updates and replacing millions of hardware security modules, smart cards, and embedded systems with quantum-resistant capabilities. Developing nations and critical infrastructure with long-lived systems are particularly vulnerable. For instance, the average power grid control system has a deployment lifetime of 15 to 20 years, meaning systems installed today may still be operating when quantum computers capable of breaking current encryption become available. Dr. Nnamdi Okonkwo of the African Quantum Initiative warns that we're looking at a potential cryptographic divide. Wealthy nations and corporations will upgrade their systems, while vulnerable populations may be left with quantum-vulnerable infrastructure for decades, creating profound security implications that could exacerbate existing global inequalities. As organizations race to implement quantum-resistant algorithms, a new form of digital inequality emerges, one where cryptographic security becomes increasingly stratified by economic capacity, technical expertise, and geopolitical alignment. The quantum supremacy battle isn't just a technological race. It's reshaping the fundamental security architecture of the digital age. Organizations and nations with greater resources can afford to upgrade their systems more quickly and comprehensively, while those with limited budgets may be forced to accept greater security risks. This stratification could create a multi-tier digital ecosystem where security levels vary dramatically between different regions and sectors, potentially creating new vulnerabilities at the boundaries between secure and less secure systems. The convergence of quantum computing advancement and post-quantum cryptographic deployment represents one of the most significant technological transitions in digital history. Unlike previous technological shifts, the stakes involve the fundamental security guarantees underpinning global digital infrastructure. Organizations that fail to adequately prepare face potential catastrophic security failures when large-scale quantum computers become operational. Dr. Elena Kaspersky, chair of the International Cryptographic Association, observes that we're standing at a cryptographic inflection point. The decisions made in the next 3 to 5 years will determine the security landscape for decades to come. This isn't just a technical transition, it's a fundamental reimagining of what security means in a quantum-enabled world. The urgency of this transition cannot be overstated, as the window for preparation continues to narrow with each new quantum computing breakthrough. As quantum and post-quantum technologies continue their parallel development, we stand at a historic crossroads in digital security. The 113-qubit breakthrough that once seemed distant has arrived years ahead of schedule, compressing our preparation timeline and forcing unprecedented global action. From the Financial Quantum Resilience Coalition's multi-billion-dollar investments to NIST's accelerated standardization of quantum-resistant algorithms, we're witnessing a fundamental transformation of our security infrastructure. Lattice-based cryptography offers promising solutions, but implementation challenges remain substantial, particularly for resource-constrained environments and developing regions. The potential $19.7 trillion global migration cost threatens to create a new cryptographic divide between secure and vulnerable populations. This isn't merely a technical challenge, but a geopolitical competition that will reshape power dynamics in the digital age. The decisions made by governments, corporations, and international bodies in the coming years will determine whether we transition successfully to a quantum-secure future or face potentially catastrophic security failures. The quantum threat horizon has arrived, and our response to it will define the security architecture of the digital world for generations to come. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for updates. Your feedback is appreciated. We hope to see you again.